we get into today's content, first I have a quick ask of you. If you have been enjoying my bookish ASMR content that I've been putting out on my channel, I would like to ask that you please take a second to subscribe to my channel. I just recently hit 60 subscribers and realized that I'm now over 50% to my very first channel goal that I had for myself, which is 100 subscribers. And as we near the end of the year, I just thought I would ask that if you are enjoying what I'm doing and you like chatting books and listening to all the good bookish ASMR sounds, to please subscribe. It would mean a lot to me, and it would also let me know that you are enjoying the content that I'm creating so that I know to make more just like it. And without further ado, let's get into today's content. Hi. Hello. Happy December and welcome back to my channel. My name is Brit, and today I thought that I would do a small little birthday book haul. A week ago was my birthday, and I turned 31. But don't tell anyone I told you. And before we get into the books, let me just say a quick little story while we look at this beautiful candle. So, as mentioned, my birthday was a week ago. And previously, my husband was in the military, so for 9 years, basically all of our 20s, we were out of state. We recently just moved back, and it was my very first birthday back in town, so I got to see all of my friends and all of my family. And I thought that we were planning like a get together at a restaurant. However, which I was excited about, guys, because for the past 10 years, my birthday has been very low-key, which isn't bad. But I was alone a lot. Many times my husband was out to sea. He was in the Navy. So when he was out to sea, it would just be me and the kids, which is great, but I missed my family and my friends. So this year, I was excited to be back and celebrate with them. Well, my sister-in-law called right before the birthday dinner was supposed to happen at the restaurant, and she said, "Hey, my tire's flat. I need a ride. Can you come pick me up to the birthday dinner? I don't want to miss it." We said, of course, we'll come pick you up. Well, we pull up to pick up my sister-in-law, and I go inside to get there, and all of my family jumps out and sings me happy birthday. My husband and my sister-in-law planned a surprise birthday party for me. My first one I've ever had. I don't like being the center of attention, so I was like beet red. Of course, I expected to see everybody at the dinner and was not expecting like a huge birthday party at my sister-in-law's house. But it was a fun time, and it was so sweet. I cried. And I just was so grateful and thankful for all of my friends in the area and all of my family coming together to celebrate me turning 31. And yeah, it was very sweet. But with that aside, all of the books that I'm going to be hauling today were actually gifts from my friends and family. On my birthday, at my surprise birthday party, so with that story out of the way, let's set this down and get into the books. I do keep like a digital wish list on Notion of books that I have my eye on. So my husband does have access to that list, and since every single one of these books was on that list, I have a feeling he kind of shared that out, which could be a good thing or a bad thing depending on who's reading the list. Seeing what some of my interests are when it comes to reading, but you know what? That's fine. It's fine. Let's get started. The first one is Salem's Lot by Stephen King. It's definitely got to be like the oldest book on this list, or in this haul that I got. But basically, I recently decided that I wanted to read through Stephen King's backlist, or at least try to. If I end up not enjoying it, I'm not going to force myself to stick through it. I'm just very curious about his works, which has become the source material for some well-loved horror in the world, of course, both book series and TV series and movies. So yeah, the next one on my list, I think this is only number 2. I've only read Carrie so far, and spoiler alert, it wasn't my favorite. But this one I have higher hopes for, so we'll see. If you don't know Stephen King's Salem's Lot, it's about a man named Ben Mears, who has returned to his hometown, Jerusalem's Lot, in hopes that exploring the history of the Marston House, which is an old mansion along the subject of rumor and speculation, that will help him cast out his personal devils and provide inspiration for a new book, because Benny Boy is an author. But then when two young boys venture into the woods and only one returns alive, Mir begins to realize that something sinister is at work. In fact, his hometown is under siege from the forces of darkness. I believe that this is vampires. Like, I've seen the TV show. There was a recent TV show made of it. Can't tell you where or who made it off the top of my head, but I watched it recently and it was interesting. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, I'm excited to give this one a try. If you have read Stephen King, by the way, I think that in the book community, he's pretty, like, controversial. Some people love him, some people don't like his works at all, but I'm very curious to know what you think of Stephen King's work, and specifically this one, because Carrie did not give me very high hopes for Stephen King and his works. I just didn't enjoy the writing style. I didn't enjoy how he talked about the characters, young female characters. It just wasn't my thing, but hopefully I have better hopes for this one, that it'll be better. I know that Carrie was, of course, his debut publication, so we will see. Let me know. Next, a quite lesser known book is at the bottom of the garden. At the bottom of the garden. By Camilla Bruce. This one says, it's actually quite interesting. I haven't heard anybody really talking about it. But the description when I read it was like, I want to read that. It says, a murderess becomes the guardian of two unusual girls in this mesmerizing gothic novel from acclaimed author Camilla Bruce. So, Clara Woods is a killer, and perfectly fine with it too. So what if she takes a couple of lives to make her own a little bit better? At the bottom of the garden is a flower bed, long overgrown, where her late husband lays in peace, or so she's always thought. Then the girls arrive. Lily and Violet are her nieces. Recently orphaned after their affluent parents died on an ill-fated anniversary trip. In accordance with their parents' will, the sisters are to go to their closest relative, who happens to be Clara. Despite having no interest in children, Clara agrees to take them, hoping to get her hands on some of the girls' assets. Not only to bolster her dwindling fortune, but to also establish what she hopes will be her legacy, a line of diamond jewelry. There's only one problem. Violet can see the dead man at the bottom of the garden. She can actually see all of Clara's ghosts and call them back into existence. Soon, Clara is plagued by her victims and at war with the gifted girls in her care. Lily and Violet have become liabilities, and they know far more than they should. Sounds interesting, right? It sounds like a wild time. It says here on the cover. secrets are meant to be buried. I said that wrong. Some secrets are better left buried. At the bottom of the garden is number 2. The next one, kind of switching lanes here, is quite different from the other 2. It is a romantic suspense called Bourbon and Lies. And this one has a matte cover, so it makes really nice tappy sounds. So I am not a big romance reader, and particularly not when it comes to like contemporary romance. However, I always like giving new things a try. You know, tastes evolve over time, and I tend to like topics outside of my comfort zone more when they integrate themes that I enjoy more. And this being like a romantic suspense, I thought could work for me. So I decided I wanted to give it a try after hearing some good things about it from some of the other booktubers that I follow. But Bourbon and Lies by Victoria Wilder has these 2 beautiful people, a female and a male, on the front cover. But this one is about a woman who, I think she's in the witness protection program, and she gets sent to this town where she is assigned to live, and she basically comes in contact with this family of brothers, and I guess she's gonna have a relationship with one of them. I believe one of them, maybe the love interest, or maybe not, maybe one of the other brothers is an ex-cop, and so he knows something's up. This one, I've heard, is definitely romance, but also mixed with like thriller aspects and action aspects, and I don't know too much about the plot at all, and I do not want to read this long back cover copy that is written in the voice of the man, I believe, and give too much away, because I kind of want to go in a little bit blind, like I know enough to be intrigued, and that's all I want to know. So that's Bourbon and Lies by Victoria Wilder. And it's the 3rd book that I got for my birthday. Then going into the fantasy realm, the next book that I got is Heavenly Bodies, which has beautiful foiling on the front that catches the light so nicely. Heavenly Bodies, I believe, is a fantasy novel, one that I've been really looking forward to. I have heard so many good things about this one. is a romantasy, and I am not well versed with romantasy, but I have definitely tried more this year than I've ever read before. So I'm kind of exploring the genre per se. But I heard that this one's a really good one. Heavenly Bodies by Imani Ariu or Aru. I might not be saying that correct. This one also got really big on TikTok. I'm not active on TikTok. I don't watch TikTok. Do you watch TikTok? I do not. So I wouldn't know. But that's what it says. I prefer YouTube and long form content for sure. But yeah, Heavenly Bodies. I like that this one is supposed to be Zodiac inspired, I believe, which is right up my alley. I love Zodiac and all things celestial. It says, in a world ruled by the cruel and merciless stars, Alara has been cursed by fate. A prophecy promises she will fall for a star. She will fall for a star, but that it will kill them both. So when Ariette, star of wrath and war, descends to wreak havoc on Alara's kingdom of night, she flees her home only to be captured by the neighboring Helios, kingdom of light, and falls straight into the arms of an enemy prince. Fearing that Ariette might turn his sights to Helios next, Prince Lorenzo is forced to train Alara as a weapon, one worthy of battling against the tyrannical reign of the stars. But there are shadows even within the kingdom of light, and they threaten to reveal the darkness in Lorenzo's past and the ancient magic that slumbers in Alara's veins. And with it all comes an undeniable star-crossed pull between Alara and Lorenzo that neither can seem to resist. So it's definitely, I feel like this one is definitely going to be romance heavy leaning. I'm currently reading one romantasy called When the Moon Hatched, and that one so far at about 50% has not been very heavy on the romance at all. We're just kind of seeing snippets of maybe potential romance. So this one sounds like it might be different than that, and maybe lean a little bit more heavy on the romance aspect of the story, which isn't a bad thing. But we'll see. I'm excited for this one. And the last book that I got for my birthday, and the only hardcover, the rest were paperback, which I love a good paperback. I actually prefer reading like physically with a paperback than I do hardback, because my hands are small and they just fit better, I feel. Some hardbacks like this one, Silver Elite by Danny Francis, can be quite heavy and girthy for me to hold and be comfortable holding for long periods of time. But they do sound nice. this one it says, "My name is Rin Darlington. I've been hiding who I am my entire life. Today will be no different." This one, I believe, is also very popular on the interwebs. And I believe it's kind of like a return to the, or similar to like the dystopian novels that were very popular in like the 2000s and the 2010s, which I was like a teenager during that time, and I loved all of those, like the Hunger Games, and I actually never read Divergent, but I read a lot of other like smaller ones, lesser known, less big ones, but I did enjoy the Hunger Games. And so I'm excited to actually read this one. This one also has a really long description, but it says, in the first book of a sizzling dystopian romance series, psychic gifts are a death sentence, and there are rules to survival. Trust no one, trust no one, trust no one. Lie to everyone, and whatever you do, don't fall for your greatest enemy. I don't think she's gonna follow those rules. I recently read earlier in the year, the one by Samantha Shannon, Bone Season, that's what it is, the Bone Season, which also was like a dystopian, themed around psychic powers, and I really enjoyed that one. I love anything to do with, psychic powers or, magic. You know, I've actually really been wanting a book that kind of explores astral projection in some way. So if you have any suggestions of like a fantasy that explores astral projection, or even a horror book, I'd love to know in the comments, because I've been keeping my eye out for something like that. But yeah, this one sounds really interesting. And I don't know how similar or dissimilar it may be to the Bone Season, but it does have a pretty map. I love illustrations and maps in a fantasy. But that's the last one I got for my birthday. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 books for my birthday this year. And they're heavy. Have you read any of these? If so, let me know what you think. Because each and every one of these were on my wish list, and I'm excited to dive And that's all I have for you today. I hope that you are having a wonderful, wonderful December month and are nice and cozy during what is often a very cold month in parts of the country. Here in Louisiana, it's cold, but I've definitely lived in colder, more snowy environments. So I'm getting reacquainted with these very mild winters, these very just gray and a little rainy winters that we have here in Louisiana.